Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the SATAMonkeys podcast. I am your host, Earth to Fatt, and today I am joined by Bear is Disconnect, or Small Boy Bear, Rob.
Hello.
Melon Rap.
Yo, it's Bobbin.
And Rhineeks.
The best for last.
The best for last, or just the last. And we are not joined by Zaire or Charles because I don't know where they are. They're probably on the moon or some shit. I don't know. They're just gone. So, unfortunately, I'll preface this, just like I did the other episode. Very slow news day. Not a lot's been happening. There are a few good stories that we want to get to. One of them's not even, I don't even have an article on it, but we could just talk about it. Let's get to the first topic here. Google Apps will stop using tracking ID that would require upcoming iOS 14 permission prompt, though. We actually talked about the prompt and everything before. Because Facebook made a fool of themselves by publishing newspaper ads saying that they need it. It's pretty much like that scene from SpongeBob where he doesn't have water and he's like, I need it! But only for advertising. This article is from 9to5Google. Essentially, the advertising tracking ID, which is specific to one user, meaning, it's just one user, it allows advertisers to track users and give them personalized ads. And instead of having a pop-up that allows you to ask an app not to track, which is coming in iOS 14, Google's just removing it entirely, which is interesting because Google's one of the few companies that benefit the most from those types of ads. So the fact that they're just outright removing it is interesting, because it may have very bad effects. What do you guys think on that?
I mean, kind of good because your info isn't getting sold.
What? No, but from a business perspective, how does this make sense for Google?
Oh, from Google's perspective, it's terrible.
Well, but then why would they do it? That's what I wonder.
Good PR, maybe? I don't know.
I guess that'd be the only thing, but they're not even advertising about doing it though, so that there's not much PR. What were you gonna say, Rob?
I'm probably not reading, I'm probably not reading as thoroughly as I should, but I'm thinking that they're just going to be getting their info from just general search data. Just customize everything from your search data. I probably didn't read too thoroughly, though, I'll say that, but... That's
true, I guess. Yeah. I'd love to know, it probably listed the apps in here that use tracking, but I didn't bother to look. It is interesting though that they just outright remove it. You'd think if they're a company reliant on those type of ads, I shouldn't say reliant, they're fucking Google. It's fucking Google. But if they're a company that, does need those types of ads to make profit, I'm not sure why you just outright remove the ask to track thing instead of just keeping it in, because at least there's a small percentage of people that will allow you to track versus the no % you're getting now. And it's not like they're advertising that they did a good thing, to my knowledge. So I'm not sure if it is good PR or if this is just kind of a dumb, we don't want to develop our app decision. We don't want to develop it to allow this permission or some shit. I don't know. It is interesting that they're just going that route straight off though. We'll move on here. This one is one of the few interesting ones. And it's also big because this has been in the works since when? 2014? Intel starts shipping its first Iris Xe discrete graphics cards for desktop. This is from Engadget. The article pretty much says they're not much special. They're actually worse than the laptop variants. But they are desktop GPUs. Intel finally is fucking releasing, and albeit in pre-builts only, desktop GPUs that go into a PCI slot. They're not integrated. If people remember, Intel released that fucking that render of a graphics card that looked like an engine of some sort. I think 1 or 2 years ago. It looked really cool. This is clearly not that. This is pretty much just a flat PCB with a flat slab of metal on it. But yeah, it is cool to see that they're actually releasing a new product that isn't a CPU that's 14 nanometers. But it's also cool to see that the GPU division is actually broken out of what it originally was. If you guys remember, those who've watched Linus Tech Tips, they had someone found a prototype for one of the GPUs like in a dumpster at Intel, and they bought it, and Linus Tech Tips bought it, and it didn't work, but it was in a dumpster. It was like a one-of-a-kind prototype, and they just threw it out. So that goes to show the innovation level at Intel.
Well, man, I love seeing DVI on a 2021 graphics card.
I'm kind of, I'm shocked the DVI is there, because there. How do I word it? I'm shocked that DVI is there and USB-C isn't. It'd make more sense if USB-C was there as well, because I still use DVI. I don't know why USB-C isn't there though. Intel, reminder that Intel like pretty much makes Thunderbolt, but they don't have USB-C on their graphics card. Because why would that make any sense? Why would Intel cross innovations? I love how the top comment is, I need an RTX 3080. This has nothing to do with the article, dude. But yeah,
GTX 1650 competitor.
It doesn't even look like, well, maybe it is. I haven't looked at the specs entirely, but I'm guessing if it's a worse version of laptop graphics that are
it only has 4 gigabytes of LPDDR4X memory.
Oh yeah, that's something I want to point out. It's not GDDR.
Yeah.
It's not, so it's like the 1030 fucking 3 gig DDR4 model where the memory's substantially slower. Maybe I think I've used LPDDR4X. It's not like GDDR5 or even any GDDR. I don't know.
Down at the bottom it says it's expected to support hardware acceleration, ray tracing, and GDDR6 memory when it launches sometime this year.
Well, the other
Probably
model.
not.
The other model.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 4 gigs and ray tracing. That does not sound good.
Yeah.
XEHPG. Yeah, that is.
I'm looking at the article real quick for the XEHPG. This article doesn't even have much in it. I don't know why I look.
Okay, but I'm gonna. Although I don't know if they actually showed like a concept art for the XEHPG, but I'm betting it's gonna look the same, although the internals are going to
Rob,
be of course,
the
different.
art
And it's gonna
for
be
it.
painted black.
Rob, go to the link for the XEHPG. They literally have a render of it.
Yeah. The render looks like a 1650.
The render looks awful. Why is it so low quality? What the unless the silver shroud is literally made of plastic.
360p.
No, but unless the shroud is made of plastic, that doesn't look like metal on the shroud.
Well, yeah.
It looks like garbage. It looks like one of those fake GPUs. I don't know.
Intel is selling on wish.com.
I don't see a Intel GPU with ray tracing that has a single fan and is as small as a low profile 1060. I don't see that performing all that well. That might be just me, but I don't think that's going to do all that well.
I can't tell if that is USB or... No, that's 4 display ports.
And no HDMI. That's ballsy.
No HDMI. We're not out of the era of HDMI yet.
Yeah. We're close, but we're definitely not there because TVs don't use DisplayPort yet as their main input. Or mainstream TVs don't. It should be interesting to see a GPU this small with ray tracing support. I'm not sure. Then again, Intel did just get a new CEO who has a background in this industry, unlike their previous CEO who's I believe just a marketing executive or some shit. The guy who currently is their CEO actually used to work for Intel, and he does he's an actual engineer and stuff. I'm forgetting what he was before. My mind is blanking. So I'm saying engineer and stuff, but he's more than qualified for his role, and he's already pushing to get Intel to be innovative again. He's already put out company statement and shit. So I'm hoping this is good. I'm really hoping both their new GPU, the DG14G and the XEHPG, which have the worst names ever, and I really hope they change them. I'm hoping they do well, and I'm hoping that since it's a GPU, right, and it's modern, and even though it's going to be released to OEMs, what's going to happen is people are going to get a batch and start selling them on Alibaba. I hope they make enough because they're gonna have problems if they don't. Even with OEMs, people are going to literally fucking buy like these OEM machines, all of them, and they just start reselling the Intel GPUs, like brand new Intel first ever GPU, $1,000. It's like marginally the same as a 1060 or some shit. I don't know its performance. People are saying 1650 competitor out. We'll wait and see. But yeah, it's nice to have another competitor though for NVIDIA and AMD. It's nice to have the full RGB spectrum.
Hopefully, Intel pushes anything lower than 14 nanometer.
Yeah. It seems like they're prepping for 10. And also, by the way, Gamers Nexus brought this up in a video yesterday. I'm so happy, or not yesterday, maybe it was 2 days ago. I'm so happy they fucking did. They talked about how it is impressive how much Intel's gotten out of 14 nanometer. And I like, dude, I remember fucking saying that because I feel the same exact way. As much as Intel hasn't really been big in innovation, it is innovation nonetheless, pushing 14 nanometer to be as good as they've made it, and to actually be competitive with AMD stuff, even though at this point now it's slightly worse in most ways. The fact that it is slightly worse and not still like 7th gen i7 performance is insane. They've pushed the fucking 14 nanometer this far. I can only imagine if they want to stick with this, how far they'll push 10 nanometer. I know that doesn't, I know if they switch to 10 nanometer, it's not going to mean they're instantly amazing, but I do wonder if it'll end up being like that somewhat. But let's move on here from Intel. Carl Pye, who has one of like most just plain names ever, Carl Pye. Carl Pye's new company is called Nothing, which is about as much as we know about it. This is from Android Police. So Carl Pye was the former founder of OnePlus, or the founder of OnePlus, who left the company, who raised $7 million for a secret project, which is apparently called Nothing. And they put out a 43-second ad for it. And it just ends with like, so what did we come up with? Nothing. And that's how the ad ends. Very inspirational. I'm surprised that investors haven't pulled out. It just seems like a big meme. This seems like the meme company. Like, what have we come up with to solve all this innovation shit? Nothing. Wow, good fucking...
Imagine getting the Nothing phone.
Imagine getting the Nothing phone. What products are they gonna sell? I assume phones, because they just don't sell anything. I don't know. I assume phones because it's Carl Pye, founder of OnePlus. That'd be my assumption, but I don't really know.
Watch them like start making like vacuums or something stupid.
Smart fridge.
Yeah. If they make a smart fridge, it'd be funny as shit. The
what
Nothing
fridge.
Have?
Nothing.
Yeah, I have nothing. I don't know. The thing I don't understand is unless their phones are separate from the brand name, assuming they're a phone company, their shit's not gonna sell. No one's gonna buy a phone, like they call their phone the Nothing N1 or some shit like that. No one's going to buy it. Oh, what phone do you have? Oh, I have the Nothing. I have the Nothing N1. What the fuck are you talking about? I think the brand name alone, if they actually use that in the branding, could get like the branding for their products get a little dumb. So I kind of hope they don't do that. I hope like if it's a phone company, they don't release like the Nothing N1 or the Nothing One. Yeah. I don't know. I guess be on the lookout for Nothing. I hate saying that. I really hate saying that.
Don't look.
Don't look. They responded to someone's tweet saying, "Is this our first glimpse?" And they just said it's nothing. Like, fuck off. It's just, I kind of feel like it's just being an asshole. That's what this company seems to be. Just like, what are you doing? Nothing. And they're just releasing phones. So they're gonna do some shit. Yeah, look out for that. Again, there's not much discussion here because there's literally nothing known like about this company. So we'll just have to wait and see what it is. Cyberpunk 2077 adds official modding tools and support. This from Rock Paper Shotgun. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we like discuss before that they had modding tools in the game, then they removed them, and now they're back? Because I could have sworn we mentioned that before, like on a different episode.
Well, did they remove them before The game launched, or like
After
right
game launched. Like right after the game launched, they removed them. That was the debug menu. It was the debug menu. A modder's like, why would you remove the debug menu? And then now they're launching modding tools. I guess. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? I'm not sure if any of us have played Cyberpunk. I haven't. But just like from an onlooker's perspective, what are your thoughts on Cyberpunk so far?
Performance makes
Well,
me
no,
not
just in
wanna play
general, Epic, not just performance.
it. Never played it.
Like, I've seen gameplay. I know people who've played it, and they've screen shared gameplay in Discord.
Without
And-
crashing?
Yeah, believe it or not. But I'm on both sides, especially after Crowdcat. Do you know Crowdcat?
I do not know Crabcat.
Well, Crowdcat uploaded a 48-minute video, I believe, about everything that was wrong and botched and everything about Cyberpunk. So I want to say I'm on both sides. Like I'm more so on like that don't like Cyberpunk side because of the fact that like I watched Crowdcat's video. He's on YouTube, by the way, if you couldn't discern. But at the same time, seeing that there's modding tools coming out, I'm kind of leaning towards it's okay, because that like now people can fix like CD Projekt Red's mistakes, but then again, that might give CD Projekt Red a bit too much slack, though. Like, the community will fix it. Nah. Like,
Thinking about it that way, yeah, that reminds me of like Fallout 4, where Bethesda just kind of gave modding support and people fixed the game and they fixed bugs.
It works.
Yeah, Bethesda just never did shit. Or Skyrim too. Skyrim's a great example. People just fix the game with mods, and Bethesda never really bothered to fix it. I kind of hope CD Projekt Red don't get complacent with that, because that wasn't a move anyone liked from Bethesda. They didn't like how they didn't fix their game. So I hope CD Projekt Red actually continue to fix shit. They definitely will, but like if something's solved by a mod, I wouldn't just let that be the solution. I'd still go through and fix the bug instead of recommending people install a mod for their game, or just not mentioning it at all. But I don't know. I've seen gameplay of the story. I've seen some of the just general gameplay. There's a lot of shit I don't like, and I want to like specifically too. You know, people talk about how realistic it is. None of the faces in the game, not even Keanu's, look real. They look worse than GTA half the time. And there's exception, like Judy looks like an actual human, but then you look at fucking Keanu Reeves' character, and he doesn't look real. Like his
Isn't
face.
he a hologram? I don't
Well,
mean to
yes,
spoil,
yeah,
but-
yes, he's a but his face specifically, it doesn't look real. It doesn't look like a human. In this thumbnail you can see how their face, like the thumbnail for the video on the website here, it doesn't really look real, and part of it's because of the shading on the face, but that's not a great excuse considering the game released like end of 2020, pretty much 2021 with all the bug patches, and it looks that bad.
I just want to mention other things. I know I keep going back to this video, but Crabcat's video brought up good points, because like he also showed shit that should, like, he used references from like all the way back to GTA 3 on how things could have been done better.
Well, oh yeah, was that like the police AI?
The police,
Yeah.
like bullets splashing in water. There was a lot of things. I can barely remember the entire list, but the one thing that didn't come to my mind while I was watching the video is that way too much money went to like the advertising section. I know I'm not the only one saying this, but it's just like it's more than obvious.
But you saying that just reminds me of the fucking meme of $8 million to model Keanu Reeves' penis. That's all I think of when I think of that. I agree though. This game, it was overhyped into oblivion, and then
they put like if you look at all the gameplay videos and the freaking advertising, all the buses with Cyberpunk, the billboards, everything. Like just looking at that more than 50% of the budget went to advertising.
Yeah, to me it looks like a fun game to dick around in.
Yeah.
Evidence of that is like videos from Vinesauce, like, are these shrimp fresh? That's one of my all-time favorite videos now.
Yeah,
It's fucking amazing. But it's just because the game's still a buggy mess, and it's not fixed at all, and it shows no signs. And there's stuff like the police AI, that's not a fix. That's let's recode the full thing, and they won't do that most likely. I doubt they will. I'm not sure, especially with the police thing and the performance issues are the two things that have been throwing me off from getting into the game. Because the performance, first of all, and I guess just the general bugginess, but aside from that, first of all, the police AI, I've seen people literally shoot someone and then they turn around and like 7 cops just spawn in.
Yeah. And also the fact that the cops don't properly do car chases.
Yeah, they'll like stop cars like the park because they have specific coding to follow a specific amount of part if you're in a car, not if you're moving in a car, just if you're in it. And I don't understand why you code your game like that. You can, I mean, if they're not, I'm not gonna try and say CD Projekt Red's not capable of doing police AI because I refuse to believe they're not capable of doing police AI. It was probably just crunch time that caused them to do that. But at the same time, I don't know for a fact if it was. And that's something that even the way it is now takes a while to code. So I almost wonder if it wasn't crunch time, if they just thought that would be good enough, but it really wasn't. And combine it with the fact that the game is originally slated to be like, open world RPG, and now it's more of just like a first person action game. That's like via their old Twitter bio, by the way. I don't know. It seems like they kind of lost their direction for the game, and they just didn't fix any bugs and then launched it because of pressure from investors. And I'm not sure if I want to buy into something like that. If I want to, even if it means CD Projekt Red take a hit from like not getting sales, even if it means I don't get to experience it, I don't want to. And for the record too, I'm not saying my sale affects CD Projekt Red. I'm just saying in general. But I wouldn't want to buy into that. I wouldn't want to buy the game because it indirectly shows support for that type of pressure. And part of it's on CD Projekt Red for kind of, it seems like they kind of promised that the game would be out by when it released, and they asked for one extension and they got it, and then they asked for more and they couldn't get them. I don't know. It seems like in a nutshell they bit off more than they can chew, and I'm not sure if I support that, because this Cyberpunk turned from what was going to be the game of a new decade to another game rushed out the door, because essentially another game where it's released buggy and then they just slowly fix it over time, like Siege or Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 or.
But on that part, I'm really just hoping that like later on in the years we're going to slowly get more and more and more towards the gameplay videos that we've seen, like the CD Projekt Red curated gameplay videos.
Yeah.
Just fingers crossed, knock on wood. Let's just hope.
Yeah. I hope. I think there's gonna be DLC for the game. That's their chance to clean it up. If the DLC's good, it's not gonna make up for the lost sales. But if the DLC's good, it'll at least attract people. And more importantly, I really hope they've learned that if they released anything else half baked, no one's gonna play the game. No one's gonna come back. But the other thing of note too, it's one of the few games that I've seen where it's huge on Steam at its launch, and then like within a week, it's not. It's huge on Twitch when it launched, and then within a week, there's like 2,000 people playing it, but there's 40,000 people 2,000 people watching it, but there's 40,000 people watching Rust. It's like, but even though, and I know the Rust thing was because of like the offline TV server or whatever, but I'd at least expect Cyberpunk to still be up there, to still be outdoing some of the older games that are up there aside from Rust. But no one really wanted to watch it. Its watch time would only go up when someone like a big streamer like RT Game would stream it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I've seen very, very few games like that. So I hope it turns around. I've been hoping that since the start, and I did kind of predict that the game was going to launch and be a buggy mess, but I was hoping for the best, and I was right about it being a buggy mess. So I'm really hoping they turn it around. If they want to release a DLC now that would get people to buy the game, it'd be the fixed police DLC where they actually function properly, which will never happen. But yeah,
Or at least a car customization DLC. Like, come on.
This is, I don't know, we're gonna move on because this is, I think, the third time in a matter of a month we've talked about fucking Cyberpunk. Move on here to Resident Evil Maiden's Village. Village is Maiden, not Maidensville. Okay.
Oh boy.
So Resident Evil Village is Maiden, a fantastic demo, clever marketing tools from IGN. It's promoting Resident Evil 8. I've seen tons of memes of this. The giant fucking woman. That's pretty much all I've seen besides these screenshots. It's just that little clip of the fucking huge giant woman.
Awooga.
Yeah, that's all I've really seen. It looks interesting going through the screenshots. It looks like it's kind of medieval setting. I personally preferred the setting of the house in Resident Evil 7. I watched full gameplay that 2 times through. I really liked that game's presentation. But by the way, one other thing I want to point out, we'll go back to Cyberpunk for a second. Notice how the giant woman's face is more realistic than most of the faces in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It's one character's face. And then you could argue, oh, well, they're title character, but it's like, yeah, Keanu Reeves' face doesn't look like Keanu Reeves. It looks like default fucking beard guy. Anyways. I haven't actually seen gameplay of the demo. I've been meaning to. But I've heard it's good. And I if not just because of the giant woman, but I've heard it's good. And these screenshots make it look pretty good. It reminds me of the PT in a way. They just released a short demo for the game, and it doesn't have a lot to do with the actual main setting of the game. It's just the tone. But the difference is PT was revealed to be Silent Hills, and then was revealed to be canceled, and this is actually coming out and is known to be Resident Evil. So it's interesting. What the fuck is this? Insomnia. What is this ad? Holy fuck! Hold on, sorry, we're interrupting this podcast with this random pop-up ad that appeared that I need to share in the fucking podcast text. This is literally like the heart attack sandwich. Why am I getting recommended this? Guys, look at this fucking image. It's the fuck, like, dude.
What?
It's open super late. Wow.
Insomnia cookies. No one wants insomnia. And that will definitely give you it. Hands down. That has got to be like 8 times your normal daily sugar intake.
All 3 of them or just one?
1. Like, actually, probably just 1 is probably like 3 times. But they're locally located? What? I'm not going there.
Go there.
No.
Go there.
Nope. I don't want to not sleep. Yeah, the Resident Evil one looks demo looks cool. There's 66 screenshots in this fucking IGN thing. Okay, that's a lot of screenshots.
Let me just mention to anybody who's simping over the giant lady, this is a Resident Evil game. She's gonna turn into some gigantic, ugly behemoth. So yeah, just wanted to let you know.
Well, yeah, Rob, man, people make fucking like tentacle porn of it or some shit.
Yeah,
like you know
Rob
the
does not care.
I don't know. It looks interesting. I actually, the only Resident Evil the Resident Evil remakes look pretty cool. I almost bought one. I almost bought it, but I'd seen full gameplay and I wasn't gonna play through it on my own. But they looked really cool. So I hope this is cool. But then again, the remakes took a very, very different approach, staying more true to the actual original games. They're very, very, very different from the actual, like Resident Evil 7. And RE8 looks to be evolved Resident Evil 7, which is good because I actually really, really liked 7. 7 looked really fucking cool. And I love the story.
It's also funny how you almost read the title as a Resident Evil Giant Woman.
No, yeah, I did that intentionally, Epic, if you couldn't tell.
Resident.
Everybody's gotta look over here when you.
To be honest, it could be named that, and it wouldn't change at all. No
Yeah,
one
it
would
really
care.
wouldn't.
Everybody only cares about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check out the demo if you have, what is it? It's only on like PS5 or some shit. If you have a PS5 and you can download it without like
One of the
good
three
enough.
people who actually uses a PS5.
Yeah, 3 people
The
who
rest
own a
of-
PS5.
The rest are just in warehouses.
Yeah. If you own a PS5, I'd check out the demo. It looks to be pretty cool. But yeah, we'll move on here to a story about Signal, the messaging app that I actually use. So I
Yeah,
was
me
very
too.
interested in this. Signal is drama free for now, but it should prepare for the worst. This is from the Next Web. I've never ever heard of this website, but it's actually pretty well formatted, so I'm not opposed to like looking at the story. Website's actually very well done. And the article essentially goes through, I guess Signal doesn't really have a great setup for combating users that would exploit the platform. And given that WhatsApp is, most WhatsApp users are now migrating to Signal because of the privacy policy changes that spook the user base. Even though, if I remember reading about it correctly, the privacy policy changes didn't really change much. They were just more transparent about what was collected. It didn't add any more data they were collecting, really. So WhatsApp users are kind of stupid because this whole time they've already been giving that data up. They just weren't. It just wasn't as clear about it. But either way, they're now all jumping ship to Signal, which is good. But apparently that could be misused, and this doesn't really go into any detail about how it could be exploited, which is not. It's not great. Signal's always interested me because it's like a non-profit that got money from WhatsApp's original founder, and that's it. Like they don't have, they're a business, but they don't really have business interests. How in the world are they gonna stay afloat? That's my biggest worry, and that's what I've always worried about with Signal. I'd never heard of it, and my cousin told me, it was a small thing just his friends in college used for communication, that I should use it, and I did, and I still do. But I don't understand how it all will stay up with this many users jumping on it and it not being a for-profit thing. You're not having to pay for it or it not collecting any data. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna move on from this article because it is just as much nothing as Carl Pye's new company. They literally don't really explain anything these exploits. But what?
Yeah, speaking of that, when you scroll down enough, it actually talks about that.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Oh, that's convenient. That's literally this only other article on. Oh, never mind. It loaded more. That's convenient. But yeah, I would say to download Signal. And switch over to that. It's an actual secure messaging platform where pretty much no one but the person you're intending can see your messages. Versus like WhatsApp or even just MMS or SMS. So I'd recommend Signal. That's pretty much the only reason I included that. Again, very slow news day. This next one here is from USA Today, and it is also like a nothing burger story. Apple releases iPhone iPad update to fix actively exploited security flaws. They didn't explain what the security flaws were, and they're reported by an anonymous researcher. Which is interesting because most exploits in iOS are found by the jailbreak community first and then reported to Apple publicly or just after that in general. So it's interesting that a private user actually found something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Another nothing burger. I guess it's just more of a PSA to update your phone unless you're on a jailbreak. If you're on a jailbreak, the community will probably patch whatever the exploit is if it's actually bad soon. Or if it's just a jailbreak exploit, they won't patch it for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's literally a nothing burger story. I mean, if you guys want to comment on anything on it, because I don't think there is anything to.
iPhones very secure.
Well, I mean they are. If a private researcher found the issue, that never happens with iPhones. It's the jailbreak community that finds it. Move on here to.
Seems like every major update with iPhones, there's like one thing that can either make or break it.
Yeah. Move on to another story from Hackaday. Arduino learns the martial arts with nunchucks input device. I don't know why they worded it like that. It makes it sound like a robot made the article. Essentially, it looks like this person on YouTube, Brian Lau, was able to essentially make these small little chips where you can buy like 3 of them for $1 that you can plug into a nunchuck and make them a thing that functions like with an Arduino, which I presume can also mean a computer as well. Which is interesting. I'm not sure how much I would enjoy a lone nunchuck controller. That,
What would you even use that for?
I don't. Does the nunchuck? Okay, hold on here. I'm looking at the nunchuck has motion sensors in it, like a gyro. So,
Can we
use
it as a replacement to the Oculus controllers?
I was gonna say, if the only thing I can see it working for is like if you're in VR and you wanted like a gun attachment, like a pistol, but you didn't want to buy one of those dumb adapters where you like hook the Oculus controllers up to something and then hold it. That's not a bad solution. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's got a joystick. It's got 2 buttons. At that point, all you're missing is you're missing hand tracking. You're missing a lot. But if you're holding a pistol, you're not missing a lot at that point. It's actually not bad. I do want to see, now that you mention Epic, I actually want to see someone use these in VR. I want to see if they can, like how shit it is or if it's good or not. But I don't know. These would be interesting to see in VR.
They're probably like they're from like 2006, right?
Yeah.
They'll probably be subpar in VR, honestly.
Well, yeah, if you look at the guy's gyro tracking, he slightly turns the fucking thing and the book goes fucking bananas on the left.
Wait.
It's at like 7 minutes, 40 seconds. Like he slightly turns it and it fucking goes wonkers. So yeah, they probably would be subpar. I don't know. I'd still be interested to see how they do though. Someone's gonna get like a fucking you know what I'm imagining? Actually, people with original Vives would probably do something like this, because I've heard the wand controllers suck ass, like the Vive wands. I've heard they were great for their time because they were the first like VR controllers that were consumer ready, and that's the only reason they were great. And now they're considered awful. Most people complain that they're heavy and that they're like they've cut themselves on the ring. I don't know. I do want to see these in VR. Will it be good? No. Do I expect it to be good? No. But I do want to see it. I think it'd be funny.
The Rift controllers, or like the Oculus controllers?
What'd you say?
Are you talking about the Oculus controllers or the Vive controllers?
Any controllers, pretty much.
Oh.
Oh wow. Oh, this is damning. Someone in the comments said, I didn't know when Hackaday turned to the Wayback Machine, they linked an article from 2008 of someone doing the same thing. The same exact thing. Wow. Get fucked, Hackaday. Well, I mean, fuck their story. No longer crediting Hackaday with that. I'm going to actually just directly link to Toddbot here, because he did this in 2008. This is like the exact same thing. This is literally the exact same thing. So yeah, fuck Hackaday for that. Actually, wow. I'll probably also link the video they linked as well, since it's a way newer, apparently a lot more superior version of what originally it was, or at least refreshing to some people in the comments. But that's awful. I don't know why you'd do that. That's kind of a shitty thing to do. We'll move on to. Let me quickly link this article right here so I remember it. Move on to AT&T sued for $1.35 billion over device syncing technology. This is from The Hill. A Seattle-based company in Tuesday sued telecommunications giant AT&T for $1.35 billion, alleging that the company stole its patented twinning technology that allows multiple devices to respond to the same phone number. And it goes on to talk about how apparently they presented this technology to AT&T and they were on board, but then they backed out of the deal because they'd have to pay a bunch of network companies and stuff. And then AT&T has now implemented a similar feature, apparently, or are using it. Have they implemented it? I just skimmed this one. I ran out of time. Does it say here they implemented a similar feature, or that they just have one?
I believe they already have that feature. I know my pops has something like that because he has a work phone and then his personal use phone, and I know that it does a similar thing with AT&T.
So it's like the same number, or?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's nice. That's the type of shit I'd love to have on my phone, but I have a fucking track phone SIM card. Because I get my service from TrackPhone. They don't have that. Yeah, well, it's a T-Mobile SIM card actually, but it's registered with TrackPhone, and I'm annoyed by it because it never works right. But whatever. That's interesting to see. I was talking with Zaire about the lawsuit, and we're not going to talk about this on the podcast, but I just want to mention it because this happened the other day. Yesterday specifically, me and Zaire were talking, and then one of his teachers brought up that yesterday someone filed a lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani for like $1 billion or some shit. I was talking with him like, there's no way they're gonna get anywhere close to that. They're probably gonna get like a max of like $250 million and a minimum of 50, and they'll probably only get 50 million if they win. Because lawsuits like that with that big of a price tag don't happen. Especially when you're talking about someone using their company and like talking about election fraud shit. That's really hard to prove. But with this, from an outsider's perspective, with this, these don't seem to be. They are accusations against AT&T that are unproven in a court of law. But I mean, they've met with AT&T. They were set to do the same thing, and then AT&T backed out and now has that feature that they didn't have before and needed another company for originally. Now all of a sudden they have it. So I can actually imagine this company not getting $1.35 billion, but at least like $500 million if they win this. This could actually be a big lawsuit. So I'm interested to see where this goes. And I'd say I'll be following it, but quite honestly, it's a lawsuit. We'll hear about it again in like 3 years, when it finally reaches the courts in like a final state, and they'll do a verdict on it. But yeah, last article here. This is from Slate.com. Why Google's internet beaming balloons ran out of air. This is about the company Loon, which was under Alphabet. This is not exactly Google specifically, because Google is also owned by Alphabet. It's more like an Alphabet company. Loon apparently was a pretty much free service Google did during like crisis, like crises like Hurricane Maria. This says here, where they used hot air balloons to fly like internet for people over areas where they would need internet, and they did that in like during Hurricane Maria. I think it said some other third world countries they did it as well for internet. And they had their own share of problems, like how you needed a 4G capable device to connect, which I don't understand, by the way. Most 3G devices can connect to 4G stuff. They don't get the speeds, but they can at least connect and use at 3G speeds. I don't know why they would set something where you need a 4G capable device in a third world country. That sounds like the dumbest shit in the world, but that's what they did apparently. And Google or Alphabet gave them pressure to find a way to make Loon profitable, and they never really did, so it's been shut down. Is this, this is more of a meme question, but is this worthy of adding to the list of shelved Google products? I don't know if you guys have seen that website, but there's like 200 different things or some shit.
Maybe.
Because it's not technically Google, but it's Alphabet. I'm confused on why this image here, the caption sums it up. Loom is closing down as its path to profitability was unclear. That is like the best way to sum up this article, because they explain everything. And yeah, how the fuck was this ever going to be profitable? In what universe was it going to be? They probably made the argument that like them deploying during crisis states was like, testing to make sure it works. I could buy that, but that's all they ever really did. And they apparently, what was it? The balloons had to be replaced every 50 days. Like, really? That doesn't sound great. It almost sounds like you could just pull an Elon Musk and launch fucking satellites into space and get a better result. Which is what Elon Musk has done successfully versus hot air balloons. I'm not entirely sure what what their big plan was here. But then I don't know how long Loon's been around for. So maybe when they launched, this was great. This was a cool idea, a great idea, but it definitely isn't now. It also looks, by the way, in that image, like they're using pretty much just satellites on hot air balloons. So all you need is to just take them up into space, and there you go. You would have had a good idea. I don't know. I don't entirely understand it. I don't entirely understand the concept of a company under Alphabet being like a non-profit and almost a charity. That doesn't really seem like a Google thing, and it makes sense that they're shutting down because it's not profitable, and they are a huge business. They're not going to.
All I'm thinking about is that it was just good for like just communication on a disaster site. It's just like a communication database or something.
Oh, absolutely, but that doesn't, Google don't profit from that, or Alphabet don't profit from that at all.
Yeah.
You could argue good PR, but this is the first time I've ever heard of Loon, so I think the PR is kind of non-existent. And I mind you, I've never heard of Loon, but I've also like been into tech shit since 2016. I've never heard of them once, so their PR was not very successful. Very odd that it exists. We're gonna move on here to a file store that we don't have an article for because it's just insane. It is technically, it's listed in Slate's website, but we're just gonna do it off the cuff. Gamestop, or AKA right now the meme stock, on the stock market. If you haven't been paying attention to the stock market, GameStop has gone from I think like fucking like $20 or $40 to currently at the time of looking, one share of GameStop is now worth $312 on the stock market, which is fucking insane. And the reasoning for that is because a group of people on r/Wall Street Bets got together and noticed that there was a lot of short selling going on with GameStop stock, and it was really low. So they theorized if they just pour tons of money into GameStop stock, it's going to go up a little bit, and all the short sellers are going to quickly sell out. But the price is just going to keep going up, and people are going to actually make a ton of fucking money, like the people who invested in from the Reddit, the internet, essentially. Whereas all these people on Wall Street, just sold out like all their stock, and now they can't buy back into it because it's so expensive, and they didn't lose money necessarily at that point, but they didn't make a lot. Then these people will potentially buy back in at the higher price because they'll presume it'll go up, and then they'll stop selling and it'll go down and they'll lose money. That's, I think, what the idea is. I'm still a bit iffy on my understanding of it. But that's what's been going on with GameStop stock. What are your guys' thoughts on it? Because it's interesting to see the people call it, especially the meme stock. Like, is this an actual meme stock, or what do you guys think?
All I'm thinking is that this is just the new generation of people getting into stocks. Like, this might happen a lot more often.
Yeah.
No.
Well, but the people on Reddit are doing it to spite people. I don't think that's the right word, but they're doing it to make Wall Street bleed. So I'm not sure if it's the new generation stocks. I think it's the new generation something. It's weird. I really got attached to the name that article gave it, called the meme stock, because it's not like a meme, but it also is, because people aren't investing in GameStop because they believe in them. GameStop is pretty much just a vessel for this investment concept. That's all they are. This has nothing to do with their performance. GameStop could literally fire every single employee and tell them that to eat shit right now, and it wouldn't affect their stocks because they're just being used as a vessel. And it's interesting that they're being used like that, because it makes you wonder what other companies in the future, by people with bigger pockets than just people on Reddit, are going to face the same thing, where they get caught in this type of loop. And more importantly, is this good? You're effectively, if the internet hive mind is big enough, you're removing the entire concept of, is a company performing well? And everyone's essentially helping each other to just pool tons of money into a stock, and then once it's profitable, all pull it out. Which inevitably will technically result in some people losing a bit of money. But I do wonder how widespread this will become. I know Wall Street Bets, people have already started doing it on AMC, the movie company, and then BlackBerry, which I actually bought into and made like 20 cents off of, or something stupid. I put $4 and something cents in. I made 20 cents off it and pulled out. And then I put that money into GameStop, and I've lost money today. But it's $5. I'm gonna do what the people on Wall Street Bets said. Just hold on to the stock. I think it's interesting though. I wonder how much of an upset it could cause in like the stock market and how long it'll last. Because it's already, didn't they lock GameStop's trading for a few hours the other day? It got that bad. No,
Not really sure.
I think they did. I thought I read that they did. But it's popping off.
Surprised.
It'll be interesting. What I'll probably do is like a short segment. If this, depending on how long this lasts, like next week, we'll check in on GameStop stock at the end, and just to see if it's up, if it's down, and then until the trend dies, if it dies. I kind of wonder if it will or if it will stick around, because it'd be very, very interesting to see if this becomes a regular thing.
We need to put on a bet on which stock will go up, then buy like $10 of it.
Oh, I think BlackBerry probably will. BlackBerry went up from 15 to 20 in like 2 hours, and it's fucking BlackBerry. Like, that's good. That's good. I believe they're at an all-time high right now. Yeah, I think BlackBerry will definitely go up by a lot. But GameStop, I don't know. GameStop stock will most definitely go up again. It'll last at least another week. Beyond that, I really don't know. It's reliant on people on Reddit keeping the momentum going with money. And at that point, you're risking a lot. It's people on Reddit.
When Redditors care less about Reddit karma and more about actual money.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Well, no, I'm not wrong here. Dogecoin became popular on Reddit. This is the same Reddit that pretty much popularized Dogecoin. So I'm not, and watch, I'll get one person that comments on the video. The one comment just says "Hey, fuck you, Dogecoin actually got popular," and they'll just went 7 different places or some shit. But I'm not sure how much I trust Redditors to keep this going. It's very hard to. But I do hope it does keep going. It'd be very interesting to see. But that's all we have. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry this episode was a bit boring. Again, it's been another relatively slow news week. We'll check back with GameStop stock at the end of next week though. That should be interesting. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Earth the Fatt, everyone else, and I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.